Good afternoon, my students. I am here in your class. This is one class, your very much familiar class. But no students are there, only the benches. I am missing you so much. But I am taking one video of one class. That is one prose, namely 3 questions. The author is Leo Tolstoy. Leo Tolstoy, you see, here Leo Tolstoy retold. It's not the original writing of Leo Tolstoy. It is as per his writings. Retold is written here. But the main theme, the main idea is of Leo Tolstoy. So, if question comes, actually you wrote it yesterday. Who is the author of this prose? 3 questions. And this very prose, 3 questions, it is the first prose of your textbook. So, these 3 questions, it is the title of the prose piece. And the author is Leo Tolstoy. So you should remember the title of the prose, that is 3 questions, and the author Leo Tolstoy. And what is these? What are these 3 questions? Look, what is the right time to begin something? The first question is, what is the right time to begin something? Which people should he listen to? And what is the most important thing for him to do? These 3 questions are the 3 questions, the title. These very 3 questions. I repeat. First question is, what is the right time to begin something? Next, the second question, which people should he listen to? And the third one, what is the most important thing for him to do? And now some person, and he is the central character of this prose. Who is he? He is a king. One king is in some mental agony, and he is thinking something very deeply. So these 3 questions came in his mind, and he is thinking about these 3 questions. You know, king is a symbolic character here. We all think about these 3 questions. What is the right time to do anything in our life? Which people should we listen to? And what is the most important time we should begin our work? These very 3 questions, it's our question, all of us in this world. We think about these 3 questions: whom to believe, when to do, and how to do. So these 3 questions came in the king's mind, and the king were seeking the answer. And now we'll go to the text. I am reading out the text for you. The thought came to a certain king that he would never fail if he knew 3 things. These 3 things were, what is the right time to begin something? Which people should he listen to? What is the most important thing for him to do? The king therefore sent messengers throughout the kingdom, promising a large sum of money to anyone who would answer these 3 questions. Many wise men came to the king. Wise men. Who is wise man? Do you know the word wise? Wise, very knowledgeable. Not only knowledgeable, they have deep things. They can think very well and they know how to proceed. They have rich philosophy. So this wise word is for rich philosophy also, not only knowledgeable. Many wise men came to the king, but they all answered his questions differently. In reply to these first questions, some said the king must prepare a timetable and then follow it strictly. Timetable, you know what is timetable? Timetable is our routine. You have routine for your classes, different subjects and different different subjects and different time. According to different time we arrange different subjects and we teach you. That is the time, that is the routine, and the routine is the timetable. One only in his way, they said, could he do everything its proper time, all at his proper time. Others said that it was impossible to decide in advance the right time for doing something. The king should notice all that was going on, avoid foolish pleasures, and always to do whatever seems necessary at that time. Yet others said that the king needed a council of wise men who would help him act at the proper time. This was because one man would find it impossible to decide correctly without help from others, the right time for every action. But then others said that there were some things which could be urgent. These things could not wait for the decision of the council. In order to decide the right time for doing something, it is necessary to look into the future, and only magicians could do that. The king therefore would have to go to the magicians. In their answers to the second question, some said that the people most necessary to the king were his counselors, others said the priests. A few others chose the doctors, and yet others said that the soldiers were the most necessary. So, for the answers of these three questions, the king sent some messengers in different places of his country or of his state, and they came and they answered differently. They had different suggestions for the king. Some said, okay, you should have a good bunch of people around you, will suggest when to start, whom to listen, how to start. And the others said, okay, you should have a counselor. Counselor means a bunch of good people who will suggest you the good decisions. And some said, okay, but you shouldn't wait for the counselors always. You should start on your own, and then you need some magician. Magician only can do the magic for you, and they only tell you how to start. So the king is little bit confused here. So and some said okay magician, some said the doctor, some said the soldiers can help the king. So all of them were not with the correct answer and the specific correct answer. They were suggesting so many things to the king, but they were not very much specific to their answer. The king wanted the specific answer, you know. Let us go with the rest of the story. In their answers to the second questions, and yes, as the answers to his questions were so different, the king was not satisfied and gave no reward. Instead, he decided to seek the advice of certain hermit who was widely known for his wisdom. Who is hermit? Hermit, you know, monk. They are not a part of this, our family. Actually, they are without family, and they are so devoted to God, and they devote their whole life to the God, and they're so pure soul. We call them hermit. You know, monk and hermit, they are they have very pure soul. So the king was not satisfied all the answers, and king were thinking about some hermit. The hermit lived in a wood, you know, forest. The hermit lived in a wood which he never left. He saw no one but simple people, and so the king put on ordinary clothes before he reached the hermit's hut. Hut? Do you know the word? I'm sure that all of you know the word hut. And the nearest meaning of hut, I know you are uttering it, it's cottage. So, before reached the hermit's hut, the king left his horse with his bodyguard and went on alone. And the king, with the ordinary cloth, not with his wealthy dress, he is going to this hermit to have the answer of these 3 questions. What are the questions? What is the right time to begin something? Which people should he listen to? And what is the most important thing for him to do? As the king came near to the hermit's hut, he saw the hermits digging the ground in front of his hut. Digging, you know, when we dig something. In Bengali we call it khora. You know, digging one well and digging the soil. So hermit is digging something in his own yard. He greeted the king and continued digging. The hermit was old and weak, and as he worked, he breathed heavily. The king went up to the hermit and said, "I have come to you, wise hermit, to ask you to answer 3 questions. How can I learn to do the right thing at the right time? What are the people I need most and who are the people I need most, and what affairs are the more important?" The hermit listened to the king but did not speak. He went on digging. "You are tired," said the king. "Let me take the spade and work in your place." "Thanks," said the hermit, giving the king his spade. Then he sat down on the ground. When the king had dug 2 beds, he stopped and repeated his questions. The hermit gave no answer, but stood up, stretching out his hand for the spade and said, "Now you rest and let me work." But the king did not give him the spade and continued to dig. 1 hour passed, then another. The sun went down behind the trees, and at last the king stuck the spade into the ground and said, "I came to you, wise man, for an answer to my questions. If you can give me no answer, tell me so, and I will return home." "Here comes something running," said the Here comes someone running, said the hermit. The king turned round and saw a bearded man running towards them. His hands were pressed against his stomach, from which blood was flowing. And when he reached the king, he fainted and fell to the ground. The king and the hermit removed the man's clothing and found a large wound in his stomach. The king washed and covered it with the handkerchief, but the blood would not stop flowing. The king redressed the wound until at last the bleeding stopped. The man felt better and asked for something to drink. The king brought fresh water and gave it to him. By this time the sun had set and the air was cool. The king with the hermit's help carried the wounded man into the hut and laid him on the bed. The man closed his eyes and lay quiet. The king tried by his work and the work he had done, lay down on the floor and slept through the night. When he awoke, it was several minutes before he could remember where he was or who the strange bearded man lying on the bed was. "Forgive me," said the bearded man in a weak voice, when he saw that the king was awake. "I do not know you and have nothing to forgive you for," said the king. "You do not know me, but I know you. I am that enemy of yours who swore revenge on you because you put my brother to death and seized my property. I knew you had gone alone to see that hermit, and I made up my mind to kill you on your way home. But the day passed and you didn't return, so I left my hiding place and I came upon your bodyguard, who recognized me and wounded me. I escaped from him, but I should have died if you had not dressed my wounds. I wished to kill you, and you have saved my life. Now, if I live, I will serve you as your most faithful servant and will order my sons to do the same. Forgive me." The king was very happy to have made peace with his enemy so easily and to have won him over as a friend. He not only forgave him but said he would send his servants and his own doctor to look after him, and he promised to give back the man his property. Leaving the wounded man, the king went out of the hut and looked around for the hermit. Before going away, he wished once more to get answers of his questions. The hermit was on his knees sowing seeds in the beds that had been dug the day before. The king went up to the hermit and said, "For the last time, I beg you to answer my questions, wise man." "You have already been answered," said the hermit, still bending down to the ground and looking up at the king as he stood before him. "How have I been answered? What do you mean?" "Do you not see?" replied the hermit. "If you had not pitied my weakness yesterday and had not dug these beds for me, you would have gone away. Then the man would have attacked you and you would have wished you had stayed with me. So the most important time was when you were digging the beds, and I was the most important man, and to do me good was your most important business. Afterwards, when the man ran to us, the most important time was when you were caring for him. Because if you had not dressed his wounds, he would have died without having made peace with you. So he was the most important man, and what you did for him was your most important business. Remember. Then, there is only one time that is important, and the time is now. It is the most important time because it is only the time we have any power to act. The most necessary person is the person you are with at a particular moment, for no one knows what will happen in future and whether we will meet anyone else. The most important business is to do the person good, because we were sent into this world for that purpose alone. And here ends this story. You see the moral of this story. What is the moral of the story? You should live in this present moment. You should do good to all. You should not calculate what will happen, how to gain, where to go, and how we can achieve our goods only. But you should do the goods to your neighbors, to your colleagues, to your friends, to your relatives, the persons you are having now with you. And you should do only goods to others. And you should present in the present. You should live in the present moment only. And here ends the story. And I took one test yesterday evening, and the performance is very well. And you answered correctly. Most of the answers were correct. But some of you wrote that the central character is Hermit. No, Hermit is most important character here, but not the central character. Central character is king, and the three most important character is one king, then Hermit, and the wounded person, that is the enemy of the king. So very good story, and very good story with the moral lesson for all of us. And you should learn this story on your own. Go through the story at your home, and I will give another set of questions any day, maybe tomorrow, maybe day after tomorrow. So be safe, be at your home, and take care of yourself and also your parents and the other persons at your home. Bye.